All right, today we're going to dive into one of the most important inventions ever. And I know what you're thinking. The wheel, right? Or maybe the printing press. Well, hold on, because I guarantee you it's not what you'd expect.
No, really, think about it for a sec. What pops into your head? The wheel, fire, something like that? Yeah, all fantastic answers, absolute game changers. But the invention we're looking at today, it's a lot quieter. And you could argue it's just as fundamental to, well, everything. Yep, a simple bar of copper. I know. It doesn't exactly scream world-changing, does it? But believe me, this one object, it stands for an idea that lets cities get built, trade explode, and even science get off the ground. So let's properly introduce our hero for the day. This is the Nippur copper bar. It's an artifact from, you guessed it, the ancient city of Nippur in Mesopotamia. We're talking about a civilization from thousands of years ago in the area we now call Iraq. So what is this thing really? Well, at its heart, it's a standard, a ruler. Its total length is exactly 110.35 centimeters, and that specific number wasn't random. It was the agreed-upon length, the one source of truth for basically everyone in their society. But here's where it gets really smart. They didn't just have this one long measurement. The real genius is in how they broke it down. They divided the whole bar into 4 big, equal sections. Historians like to call these ancient feet foot. And they kept going. Each of those 4 feet was then broken down again, this time into 16 smaller, totally consistent units. You can almost think of them like ancient inches. I mean, the level of precision here is just incredible for that time. So if you look at the breakdown here, you can see the whole system. You've got the total length divided into bigger units, and then those are divided into even smaller ones. With this one tool, you could measure anything, from the giant layout of a temple all the way down to a single brick. And everyone was using the same reliable standard. It's brilliant. Okay, but why? Why go through all that trouble? To really get it, you have to picture what the world was like before this. Imagine a world where being precise was basically impossible. See, Mesopotamia wasn't just a small village. It was this huge, complex society with big cities. They were building massive temples, organizing farms, keeping detailed records. In a world like that, it's about this long. Just doesn't work anymore, right? You absolutely need to be precise. Just think about it for a second. If you don't have a standard, my foot is different from your foot. So when we try to build a wall together, it's not going to line up. Or when you're splitting up farmland, how do you make it fair? One person's measurement could give them way more land than their neighbor. It's just a recipe for chaos and arguments. Having a standard, that creates fairness, reliability, and most importantly, order. So this bar wasn't just a quick fix, it was an incredibly clever solution. Let's actually dig into the thinking that went into its design, because it's pretty neat. The really critical thing here is the system. This whole step-by-step division proves that this was a society that was already pretty comfortable with structured numbers, with fractions. They knew they needed a tool that was practical, something versatile they could use every day, whether they were measuring something huge or something tiny. This artifact is so important, it actually helps historians figure out the bigger systems of measurement they were using back then, like something called the Nippur cubit. So the bar isn't just a ruler, it's more like a physical key. It helps us unlock how this entire civilization saw and organized their world. Which, of course, brings us to the material. I mean, they could have used wood, they could have used stone. So why on earth did they choose copper? That stuff was valuable. Well, the choice of material tells you a lot. Think about it. Wood can warp when it gets humid or just rot away. But a standard has to be stable. It has to be something you can trust year after year. Copper is tough. It's reliable. And using a valuable metal like that, that's a statement. It tells you this wasn't just some random builder's tool. No way. This was official. This was a serious piece of equipment, probably kept at the temple or the palace. Okay, so what do we have? We've got a precise, durable, and official tool. Now let's connect the dots, because this is where this simple bar becomes one of the quiet foundations of civilization itself. This thing wasn't just some abstract idea sitting in a museum. It was used every single day by the people who made society work. Builders, right? They needed it to lay out walls. Surveyors used it to measure fields. Temple officials used it for administration. Scribes needed it to keep records that everybody, and I mean everybody, could trust.
It was woven into the very fabric of their economy. This quote really just nails it. We totally take shared standards for granted now, don't we? We just assume a centimeter is a centimeter, a pound is a pound, no matter where you are. But that whole idea, the concept of a fixed universal standard that everyone agrees on, somebody had to invent that. And this copper bar, it's one of the very first times we see that brilliant idea put into action.
And the legacy? Wow, it goes so much further than just building and trade. This principle, this idea of a standard, it's the absolute bedrock of all science. Think about it. You can't run an experiment. You can't compare your results with someone else's. You can't build on past discoveries if you're not all measuring the same way. Repeatability is everything.
So when you really get down to it, the Nippur copper bar is way more than just a 4,000-year-old ruler. It's a symbol of a massive shift in how humans thought about the world. It represents that moment we decided, okay, let's build our world on shared facts, on precision, and on trust.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. From the time on your phone to the code that runs the entire internet, our world today is built on countless invisible standards that we never even notice. The spirit of that simple copper bar is literally all around us, holding this incredibly complex world together. What are some other ones you can think of that we just take for granted?